Please listen carefully.
Well, good morning, everybody. You know, one of the joys of retirement is you get to do, quite frankly, whatever you want to do, and other people will pay you your airfare as well as give you an honorarium for come to do it. I never had an experience when I was pastoring. It's a wonderful life. It's amazing how sometimes you have to leave town, leave the country, to realize what you already have right in your own backyard. So I'm going to talk to you about the intersection of temple and town, but let me tell you where I discovered the intersection. It was in Tuscany, Italy. My wife and I had gone there on vacation with the chamber. Was there for 8 days. Every city, whether it was Pisa, whether it was Cinque Terre, where the 5 cities are, whether it was Florence, including Rome, I noted that everywhere I went in the heart of the what they call communities was church. And because that was my life, I would ask the guide, why you keep saying the church is the heart of the community? She said, it is in Italy and in the ancient world. She said, what we did was we built the church first and then built the community around the church. I said, ooh, that's a novel idea. So I started thinking, what kind of impact would that have, at least on the moral compass of a community, if indeed, and I use the term temple to get away from the language church, because I didn't want y'all to think I came to proselytize, preach, and baptize some people today. So I just use the term, what would happen if we had an intersection on a regular basis of temple and town? And it's exciting for me because I honestly believe that the community is a better place when the temple and town intersect. They asked me whether I would need slides, and I thought I would. I went downtown thinking we were going to be at downtown at the market building. I was delighted that we were in Grandin Court and Raleigh Court, because here's the beauty. Everything that I want to say, you are seeing it every day. Right across the street is the Heights. It used to be Villa Heights, and Nelson Harris, forward thinking, decided let's drop nomenclature, get a new name. You have Raleigh Court United Methodist, Raleigh Court Presbyterian, Lutheran. All up and down this corridor is a temple. There's a sign of that. Here's the issue. You got the building, but do the people in the building ever come out and intersect the town? And my thing is that if we can get people in the temple to intersect with the town to intersect with the temple, we're going to have a better place. Better in the sense that we do need a moral compass in all the stuff that we do. I don't care whether you're not-for-profit, if you're for-profit entrepreneur. One of the great dangers in America today is that we're losing our moral compass. Look at the news. It's almost frightening. I get scared every time I pick up the paper, every time I look on internet, every time I pick up my phone. There is a moral issue in our land. Some folk laugh that Sean Spicer lying to us every day and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. But you know, they might be a microcosm of what's going on in our country. The reason why I know that, because if you look at NFL football, you got Flategate, Spygate. You have now folk using Apple Watches in Boston, is stealing signs from the Yankees. And then just yesterday, Cam Newton, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks of NFL, has audacity to make a dumb statement on national television when a woman reporter simply shows that she is smart enough to know what a route run is by a wide receiver. And he laughs in public and says, I am shocked, I get tickled when a woman asks such a question. And Dannon Yoga said, goodbye, Cam, that was not a good idea. If there ever was a time we need the town and the temple to intersect, it is now. With that said, there's a quote that I have that I just can't get rid of. I've had it since high school. It comes from Shakespeare's Hamlet, the first scene, the 3rd chapter. It says, Polonius to his son Laertes, who is now boarding a boat to go to Paris because he's tired of the long-winded speeches from his daddy. His daddy gives him one final piece of advice. He says, son, this above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as night to day. Thou cannot be false to any man. I have kept that quote in my head because I believe the temple's responsibility to the town is remind the town, remind community organizers, remind businesses, remind everybody that we must be true to ourselves, but must be true also to other people. What does that mean? I don't care what you do, let's make sure that all of the people have an opportunity to participate in that which we do. For I think it's the moral compass of America that we leave nobody out. Let me try to make that live. I used to go to a tournament, the CIAA tournament. It's an all-black tournament, historical black colleges. It's Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. But my moral compass, my temple and town intersection got in my way. Some of you probably have heard the Reverend William Barber when he spoke at the National Democratic Convention. You see him all over the news now. He's a dear friend of mine. I have mentored him over the years. But House Bill 2 in North Carolina created a problem for me last year. My wife and I always go to the CIAA tournament. It's where we meet our friends from college. But because of the intersection of temple and town and my want to raise my moral sense of who I am and what I need to do, I told our friends that we will not be going to the CIAA this past year. They said, why is it you're not going? That's because of House Bill 2. They said, what in the world is House Bill 2? House Bill 2 in North Carolina. They said, you don't live in North Carolina. I said, it does not matter where I live, temple and town connects. They said, what's your problem? I said, anywhere that a person, because of their gender, is not permitted to use a bathroom. You remember House Bill 2 states that you must use a bathroom based on what's on your birth certificate. That's absolutely crazy. So I boycotted. I tried not to go to the CIAA tournament. Now, the city of Charlotte didn't know I didn't come. The restaurants didn't know I wasn't there. Nobody worried about my $50 or $60 or $500 or $1,000. Nobody even knew that I was not in Charlotte, but I knew. Because of the intersection of temple and town, my wife and I decided that we would not go. I think the temple must intersect the town over and over again so that the town maintains a moral compass. I don't care what you do. If there is not a sense of a moral compass, we're in trouble. So let me, in the 7 minutes and 17 seconds I have, give you 3 little pieces I think will help us as temple and town intersect. I pulled this from Stephen Carter's book, Integrity. It's amazing how a person as brilliant as he is, most folk don't know who Stephen Carter is, except if you read his novels, The Emperor of Ocean Park, New England White, and etc. But he's a professor at Yale in law school. In his book, Integrity, he gave me the best definition of integrity and for a moral compass. Number 1, he says that the definition of integrity is the capacity to discern what is right and what is wrong. I think all of us in all of our work need to constantly discern what is right and what is wrong. When we built New Horizons Health Center, which was in the beginning Coomba on Melrose Avenue, I learned the ability to discern right and wrong, the connection of temple and town. It's amazing how many people will find you and try to co-opt you and use you for their own benefit and will pull you away from that which you know to be right. All money is not good, and everybody who wants to partner with you is not necessarily good. You had best discern what is right and what is wrong. You come up with a great idea, trust me, there'll be people who will chase you with their money, and their idea will co-opt your idea and will mess your stuff up. That's why the temple meets the town and helps with a moral compass. My responsibility at all the boards I sit on, everything I do, is remind people that we must discern always what is right and what is wrong. If that means losing $50,000, $75,000, or $100,000, let's lose it, that we might be people of integrity, knowing what's right, knowing what's wrong. The second thing Carter says in his definition of integrity is not enough to discern what is right and what is wrong, but also to act on what is right and what is wrong. He used a rather interesting illustration that I think is fascinating. Again, he used an NFL. If any of you ever watch football, you will note that sometimes a wide receiver or someone going out to catch the ball will pretend that they have caught the ball because the referee cannot see the angle as they fall to the ground. So they jump up and celebrate as if they really caught the ball, and everybody's applauding because they made a miraculous catch. This is pre-instant replay. But the player is awarded for that kind of acting and runs back to the sideline, and the coach taps him on the helmet. They get patted on the butt because they have outwitted the referee. What if the player got up and took the ball to the referee and said, "My bad, I dropped it. I didn't catch this ball"? Can you imagine what's going to happen when he gets back to the sidelines? Can you imagine what the coach is going to say? "You clown, what's wrong with you?" Because our culture is so competitive now that we're even teaching kids at a young age that you got to cheat, you got to do some shenanigans in order to survive. What I want to suggest to you, I don't care how competitive money is, I don't care how competitive it is in every grant opportunity, I don't care who wants to be your partner, act on what you know to be right. And sometimes it comes at a great cost, everybody in here, whether you're a football fan or not, knows something about Colin Kaepernick. It's a shame how a person's intent is often taken out of context. So I've tried to read and understand everything that really went on with that kneeling, and I love the fact that he went to the military person that he knew, asked them, if what I do is an offense to you, and they said sitting, Colin, is an offense, but kneeling is respectful. And he had to decide and discern what was right or wrong for him, because I think what you see in Colin Kaepernick is temple and town intersecting. And he decided what was right, what was wrong for him. So speaking out on the deaths of African Americans at the hands of policemen, and I'm not here to make judgment on what that was right or wrong. I'm not in those cases. I just want to make a point about Colin Kaepernick, is that he risked being thrown out of the NFL because he believed in what he was doing, so he knelt. I hope that each of us and all that we do will be willing to risk in discerning what is right and wrong that even will cost you dearly. Because I like to go to sleep at night and feel good about myself, because I like the intersection of temple and town. And finally, Carter says that the definition of integrity not only means the capacity to discern what is right and wrong, to act on it, but then to tell others why you did what you did. Discern right and wrong, act on it at whatever cost, and finally tell others why you did what you did. So as I bid you good day, I was sitting in an office where a person wanted to invest in what was then Coomba Health and Wellness Center, but they were only going to invest if I could allow them to bring something that they wanted where they would get some funding for something else they wanted. And the more I looked at it, what they wanted was not anywhere congruent to what I wanted to do for God's people. And when a person lays before you this check, they say you could have it $100,000 just, you look at people like they're crazy and you think, well, and I remember Stephen Carter and remember the intersection of temple and town. I discerned what was right. I acted on it with that cost. And I can sleep at night because intersection of temple and town, not just the buildings, but in my head, it's wonderful to do great work, but it's even greater to do great work with a moral compass. So America is challenged now. Where will the moral compass come from? I think it will come from people like you in this room. As brilliant as you are, the things you do, you will always discern what is right and wrong. You will act on it at any cost. And you will stand up publicly before a camera and declare, I did this because it was the right thing to do. Thank you for allowing me to come and having a good time with you this day. God bless you all.